Hi, this is Political News in 5, and today is October 16th, 2022. I'm Aisha Osori. Now, what a week it's been. I'll start with Peter Obi and the release of his presidential campaign council and the controversies that were raised from that. Now, the first and most serious one was the inclusion of a retired General Eneche, who apparently at the height of the End SARS campaign to end police brutality in October 2020 made remarks to discredit the shooting at the Lekki tollgate. So now this really annoyed members of his own campaign and people who are his loyalists and resulted in Eneche being dropped from the list, which is great. It means that he's listening. I think it's also important that that conversation about the inclusion of Eneche led other members of the obedient movement to ask questions about what Obi's plans are about police brutality. For me, this shows a sense that we're growing as citizens. We're moving from blind alliance to one where we question even those who we support. That's great. The other controversies raised were one by the National Publicity Secretary for Labour, who implied that the list that was released by Doyin Okupe was not a list that had their backing and questioned the legitimacy of Doyin Okupe to be able to release that, to publish that list in the first place. And finally, there are many who are looking in detail at that list, the campaign council list, and noting that in many of the northern states, those who are heading the campaigns in those states are not northerners, but are southerners or are not Muslims. And so we can see again that another piece of evidence about how this campaign for 2023 is going to be fought against along our most sensitive fault lines. Some are also parsing the list for gender inclusion. I do have to say that when it comes to women as spokespersons for a campaign, nobody has done better than the Labour Party. Now, let's hope that candidates who listen will become people in power who listen. Speaking of listening, Tinubu has been very busy. Yesterday, he was in Kaduna speaking at an investment forum and claiming with confidence that he would win. Before that, on October 11th, he made two words trend when he was addressing APC members, which seems that the only people that Tinubu is comfortable addressing are members of his own party. Anyway, he told his party members that anybody who demands for a change in government should be told, shut up your mouth. Those two words began to trend because people were annoyed and saying, at a time where we're heading towards a fiercely contested election, nobody should be as dismissive of Nigerians as Tinubu is. It doesn't help that the CUPP, the Coalition of United Political Parties, blew their second alarm about plans to rig the 2023 elections, pointing fingers at APC and saying that an APC governor in the southeast and one in the northwest are spearheading the plans to discredit the elections by one, removing the INEC chair months before the elections, stopping the electronic transmission of results, and stopping the use of the bimodal voter accreditation system. Quite unfortunate. Nigerians want change, and it's not going to do APC any good to pretend otherwise, or to try, as Hausa people will say, to aboye haukadabori, which is basically to try and hide madness with chaos. It won't work. Now, speaking of chaos, PDP has been inflicting self-wounds on itself. Yesterday, as well, Atiku in Kaduna as well made a remark that people have been trending. It's where he says words to the effect that the average northerner wants or needs a northern president, not a Yoruba or Igbo candidate. Now, let's hope he's going to walk back that statement, because northerners have voted for southerners in the past and vice versa, and will continue to do so. Now, Wike is also inflicting wounds on his party, claiming, again, allegations of all sorts of corruption by the chair of the party, Ayu. Also, he said categorically that Atiku cannot win without him, Wike's support, and the support of the other governors that he controls. He also hired 50,000 plus advisors and put them on the payroll for Rivers State. Now, those in the know say that these are people who are going to act as polling agents, enforcers, campaigners during the elections to make sure that Wike can control what the results of the elections will be. What's interesting is, how are these people going to be paid? Let's do some numbers. If you'd say they're going to be paid 100,000 each for the next 6 months, that's 600,000 each. Multiplied by 50,000, that takes you to 30 billion naira. Even if you want to be conservative and half that, that's 15 billion naira to hold down just one state. And those are not the only expenses that are going to be made. We cannot spend all our money on electioneering. This is money that could be spent on infrastructure, on health, on education. and other important things. Now, as if to prove to us that he really doesn't care about anybody but himself, Wike and his band of merry governors jumped on a plane and allegedly flew to Spain for God knows what. This is at a time where lots of states are suffering from floods, loss of property and life, destruction of livelihoods, at a time where we have our highest food inflation rates in a decade. Now, 2023 cannot just be about the presidency. It's going to have to be about who is our governor, who are our legislators on the state and the federal level. If we're going to be on our road to Lesotho or Zambia and upturning the status quo, we're going to have to put a lot of work in it. The choice is in our hands. That's it for me today on Political News in 5. Have a great week ahead. Bye.